Good evening and thank you for tuning in to Halton News. It's Wednesday, April 15th, and I'm Jessica Kading. The Halton region has now reported 383 confirmed and probable cases of COVID-19. Oakville has the highest reported number in the region at 129. Next is Halton Hills at 109, followed by Milton at 76, and finally Burlington at 68 total confirmed and probable cases reported. Joseph Brant Hospital in Burlington is in the midst of a declared outbreak, however. To date, 9 employees have been confirmed positive out of the 400 conducted tests on staff and physicians, and 46 of those results are still pending. The hospital released an updated statement today assuring the public that they are following the updated guidance provided by the Ministry of Health and doing everything they can to protect the safety of patients, staff, and physicians. In the good news, it seems that the rate of cases in Canada is slowing down. Dr. Tam addressed the nation earlier today.
At this point, we still don't have all the answers, but there is some cause for cautious optimism coming from our epidemiological data. Because COVID-19 is very contagious, even a few cases can quickly multiply, resulting in a steeply rising epidemic curve. This type of increase is referred to as exponential growth, with case numbers doubling every few days. In late March, when the growth rate was the fastest, we saw case numbers doubling every 3 days. But in recent days, we've observed a doubling time of over 10 days. This means the epidemic is slowing down. Though we all wish this could be a sprint to the finish, it is not. This will be a marathon, and there are no rewards for quitting early. To use another analogy, coming down from this epidemic curve will be like making our way down a mountain in the darkness. We mustn't rush or let go of our safety measures, or the fall will be hard and unforgiving. We need to remind ourselves that this is an emerging disease and that we don't know everything, so the terrain will be uncertain. That means we need to go slowly and be sure of our footing before taking each new step on the way down. Along the way, we'll need to closely monitor cases and growth trends to ensure we've got the right public health measures in place to detect and quickly respond to any new cases or clusters. We'll also need to maintain physical distancing during this time. Any break in our resolve could spark a new outbreak and delay our progress. So let's maintain our collective resolve and crush this curve. Thank you.
As promised, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made some additional changes to the Canada Emergency Response Benefit to include those who may previously have been considered ineligible. Let's take a look.
Today, I can announce that we are expanding the Canada Emergency Response Benefit to include people making up to $1,000 a month, seasonal workers, and people whose EI has recently run out. Maybe you're a volunteer firefighter or a contractor who can pick up some shifts, or you have a part-time job in a grocery store. Even if you're still working or if you want to start working again, you probably need help in making ends meet. So if you earn $1,000 or less a month, you'll now be able to apply for the CERB. If you were expecting a seasonal job that isn't coming because of COVID-19, you'll now be able to apply. And if you've run out of EI since January 1st, you can now apply for the CERB as well. And for others who still need help, including post-secondary students and businesses worried about commercial rent, we'll have more to say to you very soon. No matter who you are or where you live, we're in your corner.
Last week, we had brought you a story about Oakville and Burlington passing bylaws to clamp down on residents disobeying social distancing recommendations. And the question today is whether other municipalities in Halton will follow suit. Just a reminder, the bylaws currently in place in both Oakville and Burlington outline possible fines if you don't adhere to the 2-meter or 6 feet physical distancing rule. These fines range between $750 and $100,000. On Monday night, Milton's mayor and council met virtually for a special meeting where Councillor Cluett brought and asked this very question.
A couple of questions. One regarding the town bylaw situation. I know that other municipalities are doing the additional bylaw on top of the provincial direction, and I agree with sort of staying out of it and letting the province do the enforcement from the fine side of things instead of adding another bylaw on top of it. Quick question, I guess. Will there ever be a situation where we will have to consider doing this type of bylaw like Burlington and Oakville are? Or are we going to be holding steady and sticking with the current measure, enforcing the provincial measures?
Now, I'm going to jump in here now. Mike, you still have the floor, but I'm going to go to Troy on that. Troy?
Thank you, Your Worship. As of right now, staff aren't recommending proceeding with such a bylaw. Burlington and Oakville both have, and from what we understand from the police, they have said in no uncertain terms that they can't dedicate any resources to helping enforcement with this. So at this time, we are just focusing on the educational component and enforcement of other aspects of the emergency orders, and haven't had pushback from citizens yet. As of right now, Halton Hills has decided not to go ahead with such a bylaw either. But we will be constantly monitoring, and if we are finding that enforcement are receiving significant pushback, or there are calls for such a bylaw, we would be bringing forward recommendations at that time. However, with anything like that, there would be, in all likelihood, financial impacts as well. But that would be all encompassing within any associated staff report.
The City of Burlington held their second COVID-19 teletown hall last night. There was a large panel of community leaders involved, answering resident questions live throughout the 2-hour call. We hosted the conference right here on your TV and live streamed it on YouTube. If you missed it, you can still watch the entire call. Here's a quick excerpt from the call. A resident is asked why Joseph Brant Hospital built the brand new large extension and whether they're expecting a large surge of COVID-19 patients here in the future. COVID-19 patients here in the city. The president and CEO, Eric Vandewall, responded.
We have a surge plan for Joseph Brant Hospital, which anticipates an increase in the number of COVID-19 patients that we're going to need to see and treat over the course of the weeks ahead. So we were able to decant the hospital to approximately 50% occupancy as of today, and that allows us to surge within the hospital. However, we felt, based on the projections of about 3 weeks ago, that there was a chance that we could see ourselves having a shortage of beds, not only for Burlington, but also supporting our regional hospitals as well. So we made the decision to build the pandemic response unit to ensure that we had appropriate capacity to care for people with COVID-19, and that includes Burlington as well as people from across the region.
There's been a learning curve for local businesses across Halton who have had to adapt during the pandemic. Melissa Candelaria takes a closer look at how businesses in Milton are doing.
Quick changes and challenges for businesses in Milton since the COVID-19 pandemic began. President of the Milton Chamber of Commerce, Scott McCammon, says the number one issue for local businesses so far is confusion.
So people just wanting to know what kind of business assistance programs are out there, whether it's the Canadian wage, emergency wage subsidy, or the business subsidies, the loan programs. So I think we're getting through a lot of that confusion right now, and a lot of it's becoming more clear in terms of what are the different programs and how people apply for them. The chambers were quite vocal in terms of trying to make sure that the original announcement was for a 10% wage subsidy. We lobbied very quickly with the federal government to say that that was not enough, and that, of course, was increased to 75%.
And that 75% means companies can keep people on their payroll.
Keep people working because, even though we're all at home and we're working virtually, there's still important things to do. And I'm thankful to have the subsidy. I know most people that I talk to, most businesses are very thankful.
Now, with the state of emergency extended another month or so, McCammon says there will certainly be continued challenges and new normals.
So certainly, we'll have to figure out what that means for the business community, and when we think we might be able to come back. And we do anticipate that some people may not make it through this, so we will have some businesses that need to close. which is unfortunate. I haven't heard of specific ones, but it's just the general assumption that that some businesses will not survive this. I mean, there is a huge concern in terms of cash flow and when things can return to normal. And for the most part, I think most landlords have been very cooperative in terms of deferring rent and lease payments as well, because that's for a lot of businesses, they're not the property owner. But again, I think everyone is tenacious. Everyone is finding this new normal. Some businesses are actually doing quite well because they're in a business that can work very effectively in a virtual manner and is providing support services. So we all know that we can't come back too soon. So we are all doing our part to be patient and be strong.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
We do need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with comment from the mayor on the recent issue of the Oakville resident being fined $800 by a bylaw officer while rollerblading with his kids. We'll be right back. Last weekend, with the beautiful weather, an Oakville resident made national news after receiving an $800 ticket while rollerblading in a closed community center parking lot with his kids. Councillor Knoll and Mayor Burton respond to the town's bylaw enforcement efforts.
One of the things that I think it'd be great if you would talk on this for a moment is the whole idea of enforcement of the provincial orders as well as our local bylaw. Again, there was this hysteria around this particular one ticket that hit global news, and I mean, I've been getting emails from across the country, I'm sure you are too, telling us how nasty that is. But in reality, we're not ticketing on a wide scale basis at this point. We're relying on education first, tickets only when compliance is not evident by either the bylaw officer or the police officer. Can you talk to that for a moment?
The weekend where this occurred, our bylaw officers responded to more than 300 complaints about people violating the orders. And our officers handed out 6 tickets for failure to obey the emergency order of the province. 6. That means that everybody else was very reasonable and accepted the order.
Taking a look now at the weather coming up on our 5-day forecast. People outside there enjoying the weather while physically distancing. If we look ahead to Saturday, we'll be back to those double digits once again with full sunshine. So if you are planning to enjoy the outdoors this weekend, of course, while maintaining your distance from others, Saturday will be your preferred day to do so. Sunday, that chance of rain returns. That's a 60% chance of rain showers on Sunday, but still warm at the high of 10 degrees. And then looking at Monday, we've got 7 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. The under-18 OHL draft took place recently. The North Bay Battalion had the first overall pick, and they wasted no time in selecting Oakville Ranger product Kevin Henstock. Al Galloway caught up with Kevin earlier this week to get his thoughts on being drafted by North Bay.
Thanks very much, and joined now by Kevin Henstock, who is a left winger who played last season in his midget season with the Oakville Rangers and grew up in the town of Oakville. And Kevin, you had the opportunity to get back into the OHL under-18 draft last year. Tell us about the experience of being selected first overall in that one.
Well, yeah, first off, thanks for having me here, guys. I mean, getting drafted first overall was definitely an honor. It was definitely really exciting to hear my name called first, and I know North Bay is a great spot, so I'm really excited to get up there and go to camp. And yeah, it's just really exciting to be drafted first.
And did Coach Ryan Houlihan have anything to say to you when you got a chance to speak to the team?
Well, I mean, prior to the draft, I talked briefly to their whole coaching staff, and they ran me through their program there, and it looks great. Definitely looks like a good spot, and yeah,
And you weren't selected in the OHL draft in your minor midget season, but you got to play for Mike Tarantino, who, of course, had a lot of junior experience coaching the Oakville Blades for a number of years, and including to a Buckland Cup championship and a Dudley Hewitt Cup championship. What kind of role did Mike play in you getting back into position where you could be drafted on an attempt into the OHL?
Mike's he was a great coach all year. I think what he did best is he took it seriously. Like, we're a midget program, but he treated us like junior players. So he kept us on board. Everyone had that goal in mind, although cut short. We all wanted to, go deep into playoffs. And, he was nice to us all year. He was a great coach. And that whole coaching staff with Mike, with Benty and Scott there, it was a great trio they had there, and they really helped us. And fortunate for me, it ended up getting drafted in the end, but yeah, just as a team, they really helped us and helped us get further into the playoffs.
And what kind of role did he play in getting your offensive production boosted last year? 18 goals and 24 assists for 42 points in 32 games was definitely a jump over what you had posted previously with the Toronto Nationals and the Mississauga Senators.
I definitely got a lot more power play time. Offensively, we had we practice more offensive based things. And I think part of it goes in a bit of luck. Just the puck rolled my way this year, and just found the back of the net more than I ended up finding the back of the net, and just the puck rolled my way. So.
And what's your favorite memory of growing up playing minor hockey and playing rep hockey on as you grew up through the years?
I'd probably say the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. It's a 10-day away tournament. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's a great tournament.
It's a big one.
Yeah. It's just a great atmosphere there, and they take it seriously there. You're treated like NHL players when you're at the tournament, so, and billeting for 10 days with your best friend at a house, it was definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Okay, last but not least, what are you looking forward to most as you try to make the jump to OHL hockey next year? And if that doesn't work out in year one of your eligibility with North Bay, have you got a backup plan?
I'm just taking it a day at a time, doing the right things, trying to make the right choice here, and I'm just excited to go up to camp and try to make the team.
Well, it's a great atmosphere in North Bay, and they've got a long-standing tradition of playing winning hockey there. We wish you nothing but the best, Ryan, as you make the jump to OHL hockey from midget hockey next season.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks very much, Ryan. And as we move, or Kevin rather, and we get a chance now to send things back to the desk.
The coronavirus pandemic and related uncertainty continues to impact the markets north and south of our border. Here's a look at some of today's closing numbers. Taking a look at those stock market numbers now. Stay with us. We'll be right back with another health and wellness tip from the Royal Botanical Gardens. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us here on Halton News. The Royal Botanical Gardens has been providing us with health and wellness tips this week as they relate to the great outdoors, or in tonight's case, the great indoors. Barb McKean, the head of education at the RBG, shares with us the importance of bringing plants indoors into your home environment. Let's take a look.
So plants can make our home and office life better too, whether it's building a green wall between you and your partner who are working at either end of the kitchen table, or simply making your space feel more homey when we're spending so much time there. There's research suggesting that surrounding yourself with plants at work or at home, whether they're actually in the room with you or they're outside. It's a borrowed view from your neighbor's backyard. It can help your focus and creativity. These babies aren't just for show. They're doing more than that. NASA did research years ago on the impact that houseplants can have on air quality in homes. They were specifically looking at the space station and what they might need to do for cleaning the air there. But they found that houseplants and the bacteria that live on their roots and in the soil that the plants are in can actually remove a lot of toxins that are part of our interior home life. They come from furniture, from fire retardants that are in cushions. They come from carpets, things like benzene, toluene, formaldehyde. Plants can actually absorb these. So they can keep our homes cleaner, fresher for us when we're spending so much time there. Another way of helping our overall well-being. And they're just really nice to look at. So in these challenging times, just remember to make space in your schedule every day. Get out in the garden and play in the dirt, to hug some pine trees or other evergreens, and to fill your space with plants and connect with them as much as you can. From all of us at Royal Botanical Gardens, thanks for dropping by RBG at Home. Keep an eye on our website each week. We'll be updating it constantly with new content. And feel free to share any comments you have in the comment box below. So until next time, stay safe. And I got a Zoom meeting I have to attend. See you later.
Taking a look now at some mental health supports, the province of Ontario is investing up to $12 million to increase online and virtual mental health supports for Ontario residents, and these resources are listed on the screen now. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Many are struggling during this unprecedented time of uncertainty. If you have any questions or comments or want to reach us here on Halton News, you can do so by emailing haltonnews@cogeco.com. We're also available on social media at EURTV Halton. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading, and I thank you for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.